Alright, hello everybody. Today we're solving this paper. It's February-March 2020, paper 2-2. I've edited this paper to make it compatible with Syllabus 2025. That means it's a 100 marks paper and calculator cannot be used throughout this paper. Okay, formula sheet is given. And we start the first question. From the list, write down a number that is multiple of 3. So a number that comes in the table of 3, that is going to be 12. Next, a cube number. Cube number would be 8 because 2 cube is 8. A prime number would be 5, a number that is only divisible by 5 and it's by 1 and itself. An irrational number is a number that can be written in the form of a square root where it cannot be further simplified. Square root of 196 can actually be further simplified. I believe it is a square root of 14. Sorry, it is 14. So this becomes 14 over 1. So it is actually a rational number, not an irrational number. But since this cannot be solved, it is an irrational number. Okay. The number of people swimming in a pool is recorded each day for 12 days. Complete the stem and leaf diagram. Stem of leaf diagram, you have to use the given key. So 1/3 represents 13 swimmers. So the smallest value we have is 13. So this is going to be 3. And 1/3 represents 13. Okay, next smallest value is 15. So 1 is already mentioned. We write 5. Next is 18. So we write 8 here. Next is 21. So we write 1 here. 24, 26, 28. Next is 36 and 38. And next is 45 and 48. So this is the stem and leaf diagram. In the next part, we have to find median number of swimmers. Median is the value in the middle after arranging the data in ascending order. The data here is already in ascending order. We just need to find the value in the middle. So I'm going to cut these two values, cut these two values, cut these two, cut these two, and cut these two. That gives me the middle value, which is 26. Let me check the answer. Oh, it's supposed to be 27. Where did I mess up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I have missed something from the table. Let me quickly check. Okay, there's something I've missed. What is missed? Let me check in the marking scheme. It's 358, 1468, 688. Oh, 688. So there was 38 twice here. This is 38 and this is 38. Oh, there were two 38s. I'm sorry. Okay, so now the middle value would be, if I start cutting the extreme values, I can get to the value in the middle. So these are the two values in the middle if the data is arranged in descending order. One is 26, the other one is 28. Now you have to find the value in the middle of these two. That's going to be 27. So 27 is the correct median. You have to first arrange the data in ascending order. In this question, it was already in ascending order once we had made the stem and leaf diagram. And now you need the value in the middle. So when you start cutting the extreme values, you notice that there are two values in the middle, 26 and 28. You take average of that, so that is 27, and that is the median. Next is point A has coordinate 6, 4. Point B has coordinate 2, 7. Write down the column vector AB. Okay, so you need to know that AB is OB minus OA. Now what is OB? It's the position vector of B and it is written like this, 2, 7. And OA is the position vector of A and it is written like this. So the answer would be minus 4 plus 3. Check the answer. Minus 4 plus 3 is correct. Find the interior angle of a regular polygon with 24 sides. Formula for interior angle is 180 n minus 2 divided by n. It's going to be 180 times 24 minus 2 upon 24. Now remember, this is paper 2, so you cannot use a calculator. Okay, let's cancel with 3 first. So this would be 4 and this would be 30. Okay, now I'm cancelling with 2. So this would be 2 and 11. Now 2 and 30, 15. Now you have to do 15 times 11. That should be the answer. When you do that, you should get 165. Let me check the answer for 4. It is 165. So remember, calculator can now not be used. You'll have to do 15 times 11 at the side. Okay. Work out this fraction. You must show all your working, give your answer as fraction in its simplest form. I'm going to do 15 by 28 times 7 over 4. We've taken reciprocal. This would be 1, this would be 4. So we have 15 by 16 left, which is the correct answer. Next step is, the table shows the marks scored by 40 students in a test. Calculate the mean marks. To find the mean marks, you have to multiply 5 times 8 plus 6 times 5 plus 7 times 11 plus 8 times 7 plus 9 times 5 plus 10 times 4 upon 40. Okay. 5 times 8 gives us 40 plus 6 times 5 gives us 30 plus 77 plus 56 plus 45 plus 40 upon 40. Okay. Now add the values in the numerator. Remember, you do not have a calculator, so you will have to add them up. I'm using a calculator because I am short of time, but you will absolutely not. So I'm getting 288 over 40, and most probably we have to simplify it. So we can cancel it we can start cancelling it with 2, and you cancel it all the way till it cannot be further cancelled. That gives 36 over 5. They've written 7.2, but you may write it as a fraction, but it's better to write it as a mixed number. So 5, 6 and 1 here, 6 whole, sorry, 7 whole. 5 sevens are 35. So 7 whole 1 by 5. How do I get this? How did I get this? I'm going to divide this with 5. It's going to be 7, 35, 1 is the remainder. So 1 goes up, 5 goes down, and 7 goes to the left. So 7 whole 1 by 5. So this is a good enough answer, but 7 whole 1 by 5 is a better answer. Okay, find the area of half times 5, 12, 12 from half times base times height. It's coming out to be 30 for question number 7. Okay. In the next part, we have to find the perimeter. Perimeter is length of all sides. How do we find length of the third side? That's just Pythagoras theorem. This side is going to be square root 5 square plus 12 square. 25 plus 144, that's 9, 6, 169, which is square root of 169 is, I believe, 13. So the third length is 13, and now we need the perimeter, 13 plus 5 plus 12. So this gives 30. So 30 centimeters the perimeter too. Next is calculate the value of this, give your answer in standard form. Okay, now these value need to be the same. So what we can do is, this is 10 to the power minus 4. That is, it needs to send this decimal 4 places to the left. So what we'll do, we'll just, this stays the same. For this one, we're just going to send a 6.81 unit to the left. It's going to be 0.68 times 10 power minus 3. Now, since these two are the same, we can add them up, and add 2.3 plus 0.68, and we've taken 10 power minus 3 common. Okay, so this gives 2.98 into 10 power minus 3. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, next we need to factorize this. We can take 3 and x common. We have x minus 4y. Okay, in the next one, we have to expand it. I'm just telling the answer on the go as well. Expand this, m square plus 2m minus 3m minus 6. That's m square minus m minus 6. That's the expansion of part B. Next part, we have to sketch this. It's going to be y is equals to x is a straight line going like this, but this one is going to go 3 units down. So it goes like this. So if this is minus 3, this is 3. This is the graph for y is equals to x minus 3. Next, we need graph of this reciprocal function, which is just like this. Don't let it touch the x and y axis. This question, we have to describe fully single transformation that maps A onto B. Okay, so this looks like a rotation, and you will have to find center of rotation using tracing paper, and the angle seems to be 90-degree clockwise. Let me check the answer. Yeah, rotation 90-degree clockwise, and the center is 0, 2 that you'll learn using a tracing paper. And in case you don't know how to do that, just Google how to find, how to rotate, or how to find center of rotation using tracing paper. Okay, you should be able to find really helpful videos on YouTube. Okay, so we know it's a rotation, we know it's 90-degree clockwise because this length becomes like this, so it's definitely a 90-degree clockwise shift. Okay, moving on. A on to C. Okay, this looks like a reflection. This would be in the center because there are two diagonals here and two diagonals here. Next, if we take this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So midway would be this. Now you can make a straight line joining these. This is the line y is equals to x. And what we have to do? Shape A onto shape C. Okay, so it's a reflection on the line y is equals to x. So you write that reflection on line y is equals to x. Okay, let's check. Yeah. Shape A onto D. How did A become D? It's definitely a stretch, and the scale factor is new length over old length. So 2 over 4, which is half. It's not going to be negative half because the figure did not become upside down. It's still the same figure, just slightly smaller. Okay, so it's an enlargement with scale factor 2. In fact, yeah, the scale factor is new length over old length. So 4 over, what does it say? What is mapped onto what? A is mapped onto B. So yes, new length over old length. It should be 1 by 4. Let me check. I'm sorry, it was 2 upon 4. Then it will be 1 over 2. Okay, now how do you find the center of enlargement? We join the corresponding points using a ruler. So this gets joined with this. I do not have a ruler. And join the corresponding points. This gets joined with this. It's not looking that great. What am I missing? Most probably, when you use a ruler, you'll get this point as the center of rotation. Let me check. Center of enlargement. No, it's not this. 34, 6. Okay, I'm going to use a ruler now. That did not help. If I use a straight line like this, then it goes like this. Yes. And the other one goes up. Yeah, it is 4 comma 6. So the point of intersection is 4 comma 6. So the center of enlargement is also going to be 4 comma 6. Okay. Okay. So again, it's an enlargement. Scale factor is new length over old length. So 2 upon 4, which is half. And the center is the point of intersection you get by joining the corresponding two figures. Shape A onto D. Have we already done this? Yes, we have. Okay, so the next question is that Dahu has a model railway. He has a train that consists of a locomotive and four coaches. The mass of a locomotive is 87 grams. The mass of each coach is 52 grams. Work out the total mass of the train. Okay, so we just have to add the mass of the four coaches with the mass of the locomotive. So locomotive is 87 grams plus four coaches is 52. You have to find this product and then add it to 87. You do not use a calculator, and when you're done, you should get 295 as the final answer. Write the recurring decimal 0.266666 as a fraction. You must show all your working. Okay, you can start this question as let x is equals to 0.26 dot here. Okay, now I can say that 10x is equals to, or yeah, 10x is equals to 2.666666 and 100x equals to 26.666666. Now notice that if I subtract these two, I can get rid of the recurring sixes. So if I do 26.6666 minus 2.66666, I just get 24. And if I'm subtracting 26.666 with from 2.66666, that means I'm subtracting these two, 100x minus 10x. So I'm also doing that on the side. 100x minus 10x, that gives 90x. So we're getting 90x is equals to 24. That means we're getting 24 over 90. Now we're going to cancel this with 2, so I get a 12 in the numerator and 45 in the denominator. That should be the answer. In fact, we can further cancel it. I'm sorry. We cancel it with 3. So then we get 4 here and we get 15 here. So 4 over 15 is the final answer. Okay. 14 is during one day, the temperature in degrees was recorded every 2 hours. 12 results are given below. For these results, find the median. Okay. How do we find the median? First, we need to arrange the data in ascending order and then figure out the value in the middle. Okay, so the smallest value is minus 3, writing that first. Then we have minus 2, minus 2 and minus 2. So minus 2, minus 2, minus 2. Then we have minus 1. Then we have a 0. Then we have 1, 2, 2. Then we have 4, 4, 5. Okay. Now we have to find the value in the middle. So if I cut this and this, this and this, this and this, this and this, this and this. So I'm getting two values in the middle, in fact. 0 and 1. And then the median is going to be the value in between 0 and 1, which is 0.5. So the median needs to be 0.5, which is correct. Find the range. Okay. Again, range is the maximum value of the data minus the smallest value of the data. So that's going to be 5 minus 3, which is 8. Yes, that is correct. And lastly, the interquartile range. Okay, now the interquartile range is the upper quartile minus lower quartile. Let me clear this. Okay, now how do we find the upper and lower quartile? Okay, we already have the median. Median is a value over here, right? It was 1.5. It was, sorry, 0.5. It was between 0 and 1. So now we have broken the data into two parts, the lower part and the upper part. Okay, now you have to find the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Lower quartile is found by now finding the middle of these values. What comes in the middle? This gets cut with this, and then the middle is in between -2 and -2. Okay, so what is comes in between -2 and -2? It's still -2 because these two values are the same. So the average of -2 and -2 is still -2. How do we find average? We add the values and divide it with 2. That gives -4 over 2, which is still -2. So the lower quartile is -2. And what's the upper quartile? Find the middle here. This gets cut, this gets cut. So the middle is between 2 and 4, which is going to be 3. And you can also do 2 plus 4 upon 3, which is 6 upon 3, which is 2. Sorry, 2 plus 4 upon 2. Okay, that's how you find the mid value. So that's going to be 6 upon 2, which is 3. That's how you find mean. You add them and you divide it with the total value. Okay, so the interquartile range is going to be upper quartile minus the lower quartile. It's coming out to be 5. Okay. Next is this question. A, B, C, D lie on a circle. PCQ is tangent to the circle at C. Okay, this is tangent to the circle. Okay. Angle ACQ is 64. Work out the angle ABC. Give reasons for your answer. Okay, let me slightly zoom this out. Okay, so we have to find angle ABC. Okay, I can see alternate segment theorem here. You must have studied it in your class. If this is a chord and this is a tangent, and you have an angle 64 being formed, or any angle being formed, and you have another angle being formed by the ends of these chords onto the circumference, then this is also going to be 64 using alternate segment theorem. That means this is 64. Okay. After this, I see a cyclic quadrilateral here. If four corners of a quadrilateral or four vertices of a quadrilateral touch the circumference of a circle, then it's called a cyclic quadrilateral. And in a cyclic quadrilateral, opposite angles sum up to 180. So our answer should be 180 minus 64, which is going to be 100 and something, 116. So this will be 116. And what is the reason? There are two reasons. One is alternate segment theorem. You'll write it properly, not in short form. So alternate segment theorem, and uh, what else? And cyclic quadrilateral. Or instead of cyclic quadrilateral, you might have also studied angles in opposite segment. This is also another name for the property of cyclic quadrilateral, angles in opposite segment. So you may write cyclic quadrilateral or angles in opposite segment. Let's see what the answer says. Alternate segment theory, angles in opposite segment are supplementary of cyclic quadrilateral angle at point. Okay, so same thing. So angles in opposite segments sum up to 180 degree should be a better way of writing this, just in case we don't lose marks, because it says, look, angles in the opposite segments are supplementary. Supplementary means that their sum is 180 degree. So I think it's better to mention that angles in the opposite segment sum up to 180 degree, or angles in a cyclic quadrilateral sum up to 180 degree. Question 16. A toy train is 61 centimeter long and travels at a speed of 18 centimeters per second. It takes 4 seconds for the whole of the train to cross the bridge. Calculate the length of the bridge. Okay. So this is a question on speed is equals to distance by time. Speed is given. This is speed, no doubt about that. Distance is given. It's 61 centimeter plus length of the bridge as well. So there's one distance is missing and the other distance is given. So the distance is going to be 61 plus x. This is how these questions work. For the distance, you have to add the length of the train, which is 61, plus the length of the bridge. Let's say this is the bridge. It is x. So the total distance covered is 61 plus x upon time. Time is 4 seconds. Okay. Now you solve this. You do 18 times 4, which would come out to be 72. Remember, you are not allowed to use calculators now. And this would be 11. So 11 centimeters should be the answer. Let's check. Yep, it is. Okay. Question 17 is, Dhanu plays with his toy train from 6:50 to 11:15. He then rides his bicycle for 3 hours. Find the ratio of time playing with train and time riding the bike. Give your answer in simplest form. Okay, so time riding the bicycle is 3 hours. But what is the time from 6:50 to 11:15? Let's calculate that. Okay, so how many minutes or hours are between 7:50 to 11:15? Okay, that is going to be, if you calculate it, it will be 4 hours and 25 minutes. So we need to form a ratio of 4 hours, 25 minutes, ratio 3 hours. Okay, I'm going to change all of these into minutes so that I can cancel both sides. So 3 hours would be 60 plus 60 plus 60, 180 minutes. And 4 hours, 25 minutes would be 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 25. So what is that? 60 times 4 is 240. And then plus 25 is going to be 265. So 265 ratio 180. This is not the answer in simplest form. They need answer in simplest form. So we can cancel both sides with 5. So this becomes 5 and 1 carried 53. And when we cancel this, we get 3 and 3 carried, that's 6. So this would be 653 ratio 36. 53 ratio 36 is the correct answer. Okay. Next is a point. A is a point 3 comma 5, B is a point 1 comma minus 7. Find the equation of line that is perpendicular to AB and that passes through A. Give your answer in the form of y is equals to mx plus c. Okay, let's find the gradient first. Formula for gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which gives us minus 12 upon minus 2. So the gradient is coming out to be 6. But we need the perpendicular gradient. Perpendicular gradient is always negative reciprocal of the initial gradient. So it's going to be negative 1 over 6. You take the reciprocal of this, which will become 1 over 6, and then you change the sign. So negative 1 over 6. So that's going to be the slope. So y is equals to minus 1 over 6x plus c. We need the value of c. So we need a point through which this line passes. And that point is A. This line passes through A and the coordinates of A are 3, comma 5. So we can plug in these coordinates here. So we get 5 equals minus 3 upon 6 plus C. This is minus half. When it goes to the other side, it becomes plus half equals to C. So we have 11 over 2 as C. So y equals minus 1 over 6x plus 11 over 2. Let's check the answer. Okay, yes, that is the correct answer. Also, it's better to write this as a mixed number, but again, that's optional. Question 19. Time taken to run a race is given as 54.3 seconds, correct to the nearest zero point 0.1 of a second. Okay. I should be able to find upper bound and lower bound of this time using this 0.1. We have to divide this with 2 always. So that gives us 0.05. Okay. Now, if you add 0.05 here, you get upper bound. And if you subtract 0.05 here, you get lower bound. What do we need in this question? We need the lower bound only. So we subtract 54.3 minus 0.05. So that's going to be 54.25, which is the time in lower bound. Yes, that is correct. Okay. The distance run is given as d meters, correct to the nearest meter. Okay. Now, this will give us the upper bound of the distance and the lower bound of the distance. What's going to be d upper value and d lower value? Again, you have to add half of this to d and you have to subtract half of this from d. Okay, this is just 1 meter. If it says nearest meter, it means 1 meter. And when we divide 1 with 2, we get 0.5. That means the upper bound is d plus 0.5, lower bound is d minus 0.5. We probably don't need both of them, but I just wanted to show you how to find upper and lower bound in this case. Okay, write an expression in terms of d for the maximum possible average speed in meters per second. Okay, so average speed formula is total distance over total time. Okay, total distance, we need to find the maximum possible value here. So for that, you need the highest value, the upper bound value in the numerator, and the lowest value or the lower bound value in the denominator. So the total distance has to be taken upper bound d plus 0.5 and the lower value has to be lower time, and we already had found lower time in the numerator. It was 54.25. This should be the expression for the maximum possible average speed. Yes, that is correct. Had they asked for the minimum possible maximum speed, then you would have to take the lower value of the numerator and upper value of the denominator. But that is not what was asked. You have to draw the graph of cos x for question number 20. Okay, so you need to remember what cos x looks like. It goes like this. There's no other way of doing this than to remember these values. Okay, and make sure the graph does not go over 1. Look, my graph is going over 1. That's going to be penalized. So it's good to make a dotted line first, then that you can clear later. So it goes like this. And then you can rub off the dotted lines later. Okay. Please remember the shapes of sine x graph, cos x graph, tan x graph. Okay. Now we have to solve this equation. Remember, no calculators. Okay. So I'm going to make 4 cos x the subject. That means the first thing that goes to the right hand side is that square root of 3. 3 square root of 3 minus square root of 3 is 2 square root of 3. That 4 gets divided. 2 and 4 gets cancelled. So this becomes square root of 3 upon 2 equals cos x. Now you have to find cos inverse of square root of 3 upon 2. Now, this makes this a question on exact trigonometric values. You need to remember what angle of x gives us. When you take cos of what, that gives you under root 3 over 2. Okay, so you need to have the table memorized, and uh, what is cos of what gives us under root 3 upon 2? That is 30 degrees. Okay. So x is equals to 30 degrees. One of the answers for x is 30 degrees. It's a good idea to watch a video how to remember exact trigonometric values. Okay. So that will help you remember these values. One of those ways is using an isosceles, an equilateral triangle. Let me try showing that to you here. Okay, so you take an equilateral triangle, you call each side 2, 2, and 2. And since it's an equilateral triangle, this would be 60, this would be 60, this would be 60. Okay, now if you break this like this becomes 90, and this becomes 30. So now we have another right angle triangle which has 60 here, which has 30 here, a 90-degree line here. This is 2. Now this becomes 1 because it's half of the length. And you can find this third length using Pythagoras theorem. Should be 2 square plus 2 square equals 1 square plus x square. So that becomes 4 minus 1, 3 is equals to x squared, and then you take square root on both sides, so x is equals to square root of 3. So this third side is square root of 3. So now I can tell that if I find cos 30, it will be opposite over adjacent. So that's why cos inverse of, that is sine 30. Cos 30 will be adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so cos inverse under root 3 over 2 must be 30. Okay, now this 30 is the absolute angle. You should know that cos is positive in the first quadrant. Add sugar to coffee. So cos is positive in the first quadrant, and cos is positive in the fourth quadrant. So one of our answers is 30, and the other answer would be 360 minus 30, which is 330. So we got 30 degree and 330 degree as our final answers, which are correct answers. Moving on, find the values of A and the value of B. Okay, so we have x squared minus 12x plus a is equals to x plus b whole square. Okay, so if you know the trigonometric identity, a square minus 2ab plus b square equals to a minus b whole square. You should be easily be able to do it. So instead of a square, we have x squared. Then minus 2x, and what should be this value here? What should be this third value here so that you get 12x? It should be 6. So this is 6, and then you also have to add square of 6. So that's going to be 36, or you can write 6 squared for now. And this is equals to x minus 6 whole squared. So now we know that A is 36 and B is minus 6. So we're getting 36 and minus 6. So if you know the trigonometric identity, then you should be able to do this quickly. However, what if you don't know that this trigonometric, sorry, not trigonometric identity, the algebraic identity. So if you don't know this algebraic identity, a square minus 2ab plus b square equals a minus b square, then you'll have to use a longer approach, which is expand and compare. So now I'm going to expand this. You can multiply the brackets twice, or it's better that you know the identity that a plus b whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square. I've applied it here. Now you can expand, you can compare both sides. Here with x you have minus 12. Here with x you have 2b. So minus 12 must be equals to 2b, meaning b must be equals to minus 6. Similarly, here the constant is a and here the constant is b square, so they must be equal. So a will be equals to negative 6 whole square, that is 36. So again, we got the same answers. Question 22 is xy vector is 3a plus 2b and zy vector is 6a plus 4b. Write down two statements about the relationship between points x, y, and z. Okay, notice that x and y and z, for y and z, if you double 3a plus 2b, you get 6a plus 4b. Okay, this implies that x, y, and z, they all lie on the same line. So you can write x, y, z lie on same line, or you may write that x, y, z are collinear points. Are collinear. That means these points are on the same line. Whenever you can write one vector as a multiple of the other vector, it either means that the vectors are parallel or they are collinear. In this case, they'll be collinear because we have x to y and then z to y. So since an alphabet is shared between these two, so they can't be parallel. They have to be collinear. They have to lie on the same line. So we know they are collinear. Also, we know their relationship. You can write zy is 2 times of xy. So these are the two facts about the points x, y, and z. Let's see what the marking scheme says. It says x, y, z are collinear and x is the midpoint of y, z, and they've also allowed what we wrote. So that's fine. Okay. Next is Manjeet uses 220 liters of water each day. She reduces the amount of water she uses by 15%. Calculate the number of liters of water she now uses. So if she's reducing it by 15%, that means she's now only using 85% of the initial amount. So we're going to take 85% of 220. Without the calculator, you're going to simplify this and write the final answer in the marking space. We can cancel this with 5. So 2 and 1, 7. And then we can cancel this. And 17 times 11 should be the answer. If I did not mess up the calculation, let's just see. Yes, 187 is the answer. Okay. So you'll need to do 17 times 11 here and you should get 187. Find the value of k. Okay, what do we have here? We have 2 power 12 divided by 2 power k upon 2 equals to 32. Instead of 32, I'm going to write 2 power 5 because 32 is 2 power 5. You can check here. 2 divided by 32 is 16, 2, 8, 2, 4, 2, 2, and 2, 1. So 2 power 5 is 32. Okay, now I'm going to use indices rule. We can subtract these powers. 2 power 12 minus k upon 2 equals to 2 power 5. That means the powers must be equal. So 12 minus k upon 2 equals 5. Okay. Now we'll have to take LCM before we move to the other side. So we get 24 minus k is equals to 5. So we get 10. And we get 14 after rearranging. 24 minus 10 is equals to k. 14 is the correct answer. Write as a single fraction in its simplest form. We'll have to make denominators the same. That means we multiply x plus 2 here and x plus 2 here. And we multiply x minus 3 here and here. The denominator becomes the same. X plus 2 times x minus 3. In the numerator, we're going to multiply x plus 2 with x plus 3. So x plus 2, x plus 3. There's a negative sign in between, so you have to be extra vigilant. Use bigger brackets. And here we're going to do x minus 2 times x minus 3. Okay, so the first bracket becomes, if I simplify it, it's going to be x squared plus 2x plus 3x. I'm skipping a step. I'm writing 5x directly plus 6. Okay, minus bring back the big bracket. It's very important. And now I'm going to expand this. It's going to be x squared minus 3x minus 2x, which I'm going to write as minus 5x plus 6. I'm just skipping a step to save time. You are welcome to do all the steps. Okay, and in the denominator, I'm going to keep it factorized because the simplest answer is the factorized answer. Okay, now we expand the numerator. We have x squared plus 5x plus 6 minus x squared plus 5x minus 6. So everything cancels except for the two 5x. So 5x plus 5x will be 10x. So we're getting 10x upon the two brackets x plus 2, okay, and x minus 3. Let's check. Yes, 10x upon x plus 2, x minus 3. Or they said that even if you expand the denominator, it's fine. But we'd rather not. Why waste time expanding it? Anyway, okay, 26. We have to expand these three brackets. So what you can do is expand any two first and then multiply the result with the third bracket. So you could multiply these two first or you could multiply these two first. Absolutely up to you. I'm going to multiply the second two first. So I could use big brackets or not. Okay, it becomes 2y squared minus y minus 8y plus 4. So y plus 3, 2y squared minus 9y plus 4. And now we're going to multiply these. So y gets multiplied with these three, and then plus 3 gets multiplied with these three. Let's start. 2y cubed minus 9y squared plus 4y plus 6y squared minus 21y plus 12. Okay, sorry, that's 27, not 21. Okay, let's add these up. We have only single y cube term, 2y cube. Then we have 2y square term minus 9y squared plus 6y squared. That becomes minus 3y squared. Then we have 2y term 4 minus 27. So that becomes minus 23y. And then we have a single constant term. This should be the answer unless I blundered. 2y cubed minus 3y square minus 23y plus 12. Yep, right answer. Okay. Make x the subject of the formula. So we have x on either side. This has to be fixed. We have x on both sides. Bring the x to the same side like this. Take x common. Send the bracket to the other side and we are good to go. 3 upon y minus 1 should be the answer. Yes, it is. God, when will this paper end? Okay. Naga has n marbles. Pranav has 3 times as many marbles as Naga. So that means he has 3n marbles. Let's write that down. So he has 3n. Pranav has 3n. Naga loses 5 marbles. So that's going to be n minus 5. And Pranav buys 10 more marbles. So now he'll have 3n plus 10 marbles. Together, they now have more than 105 marbles. So n minus 5 plus 3n plus 10, they have more than, that is greater than 105 marble. Write down and solve an inequality in x. So we have 4n plus 5 greater than 105, 4n greater than 100, n greater than 20. So this should be the answer. Sorry, not 20, 25. My bad. So n is greater than 25. A curve has equation y equals x cubed minus 3x plus 4. Work out the coordinates of two stationary points. Stationary point is when dy by dx is equals to 0. So we derivate this. The 3 comes down. The power becomes 1 less. The derivative of minus 3x is just the coefficient minus 3. The derivative of a constant value is 0. Okay, so we have derived it 3x square minus 3 and you don't have to write plus 0. And for the stationary point, you have to equate it to 0. So this becomes 3x square equals 3, which becomes x square equals 1. Now you'll have to square root both sides. Remember, whenever you square root both sides, do not forget the plus minus. So we get x equals plus minus square root of 1, which is just 1. So we're getting 1 and minus 1 here. Now we're going to plug in the values of x here. 1 cube minus 3 times 1 plus 4. So that's going to be 2. And for minus 1 cubed, minus 3 times minus 1 plus 4, we're getting minus 1 plus 3 plus 4. I believe that's 6. Let's check if this 1 comma 2 and minus 1 comma 6 is correct. Determine whether each stationary point is maximum or minimum. For this, to tell if the stationary point is maximum or minimum, you have to derive again. So we derived it once. We got 3x square minus 3. Now we derive this again. This was the first derivative. Now we derivate it again. So the 2 comes down, gets multiplied with 3. So we get a 6. Power becomes 1 less. So it's just now x power 1 or just write x. Derivative of a constant value is 0. So you write plus 0 or you may not. Okay, now this is the second derivative. In the second derivative, you plug in 1 first and minus 1 later. When x is 1, we get 6 times 1, which is just 6, which is a positive value, greater than 0. If it's positive, that means this turning point, which was 1 comma what, 1 comma 2, is a minimum value. This is minimum. And if when x is 1, no, when x is minus 1, we get 6 times minus 1, which is minus 6. This is less than 0 or a negative value. So this stationary point, minus 1 comma 6, it is a maximum. Let's check. 1 comma 2 is minimum, 1 minus 1 comma 6 is maximum. You have to write the reason. The reason is that since this is greater than 0 and since this is less than 0, their minimum and maximum respectively. Please tell me this is the last question. Almost. Almost there. Hang in there. Okay. Suleka has 6 cards numbered 1 to 6. She takes 1 card at random, records the number, and replaces the card. Write down the probability that the number is 5 or 6. Okay, so we have 5 or 6 twice in this set. So 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 over 6 or 1 by 3 should be the final answer. Let's check. It is. Okay. Suleika does this 300 times. How many times she expects the number 5 or 6? Okay, now you have to use the formula n times p. N is this number 300 and p is the probability we got earlier, which is 1 by 3. So the answer is 100 times, which is correct. Okay. Suleika takes 2 cards at random without replacement. Find the probability that the sum of the numbers on 2 cards is 5. Okay, so now we have to pick such 2 numbers that give us a sum of 5. Drawing a possibility diagram would really help in doing this question. Let's do that. So the numbers we have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I'm going to find all the sums that give me a 5. I'm not going to write literally all of them, but just the ones that give me a 5. Also, it says without replacement. This has to be considered. I'll tell you what this means as well. Okay. Find the probability that the sum of the numbers on the 2 cards is 5. Okay. First, let's consider without replacement. So, whatever card she chooses, like if she chooses 1 and then she's choosing another number, it cannot be 1 again because 1 was chosen and it was put away. So then 1 cannot be chosen again. That means, so from the table that I've made, we cannot get 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, and 6, 6. Because if 6 was drawn, it cannot be drawn again because the question says without replacement. Okay, now let's check how many total possibilities do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There are 30 possible outcomes now. Can't believe I took so long to add. Anyway, so 30 are the total outcomes. That's going to be the denominator. Find the probability that the sum of the numbers on the 2 cards is 5. So we get a 5 if you draw 4 and 1. So we get a 5 here. Let me put a 5 over here. Yeah. And we get a 5 if 3 and 2 are drawn. So another 5. Then we get a 5 if 2 and 3 is drawn. Then we get a 5 if 4 and 1 is drawn. Any other way we don't get a 5. So we have 4 possibilities out of 30 possibilities of getting a sum of 5. So cancel this. So it should be 2 upon 15 should be the answer. Yeah, it is correct. Find the probability that at least one of the numbers on the card is a square number. Okay, now let me get rid of these 5. So at least one of the numbers on the card is a square number. Now, how many square numbers do we have over here? We have 1 is a square number because 1 square is 1. And then 4 is a square number because 2 square is a 4. So we just have 2 square numbers. So we have to keep this in mind, keep this in mind, keep this in mind, and keep this in the mind. We have 1 and 4 as the square numbers. Find the probability that at least one number on the card is a square number. So let's look at this first. Of course, you can't get 1 and 1, so that's just crossed out. You can get 1, 2. You can get 1, 3. You can get 1, 4. You can get 1, 5. You can get 1, 6. So we have 5 possibilities of drawing cards such that one of them at least is a square number, because in 1 and 2 you have a square number which is 1, and in drawing 1 and 3 you have a square number which is 1. Okay, and then if you draw 2 and 1, that also has a square number on it. So this and this, because if you draw 6 and 1 you do have a square number in it. Okay, then if you draw 1, 4, that's a square number at least, and then you have two square numbers with 1 and 4. Since it says at least one of the numbers on the card is a square number, you can also take two square numbers. Then 2 and 4 has a square number, 3 and 4 has a square number, 4 and 4 is not possible, 5 and 4 and 6 and 4. I and then 4 and 2, 4 and 3, 4 and 4 is not possible, 4 and 5, 4 and 6. Now let's count the total ticks we've made and then divide it with the total outcomes, which is 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 over 30. Simplify this, we get 9 over 15. This better be the answer. Why is it not the answer? Oh, because it can be further cancelled. 3 by 5. That scared me for a second. Okay, 3 by 5 is the answer. So, if you make a possibility diagram, trust me, it's going to make your life a lot easier. You don't have to do all this. Am I allowed to say yes? Yes, you don't have to do all of this. Okay, so possibility diagram really makes your life easy if there's a chance of drawing a possibility diagram and doing a question, please always draw a possibility diagram. Okay, drum roll, last question of the day. Simplify the following: 2 square root of 27 minus 4 square root of 3. Okay, 27 can be written as 9 times 3, which can be, this goes out, this becomes 3 because square root of 9 is 3, and it becomes 3 square root of 3. So I'm writing 2 times 3 square root of 3 minus 4 square root of 3. That would be 6 square root of 3 minus 4 square root of 3. This is just like 6x minus 4x, which would be 2x. So this will be 2 square root of 3. Is that correct? Yes, it is. All right, that would be all. I'll see you next time.